studio mode, just to make sure. Oh, there we go. Send me. Look at that. So let's get started. It's kind of weird, actually. I've noticed on my taskbar. Hold on. I was about to switch over to a new scene, but I still had like just random garbage up on my other monitor. Oh, hello, Needle Mouse. Hello, hello. How are you? How are you? Boom. Oh, I guess you can't see. Oh yeah, in this screen you can't see my taskbar. Here you can see my taskbar. So I don't usually have the icons show up, but now they do. I don't know what's going on. I didn't usually used to have icons. Yeah. How are you, Needle Mouse? How is Linux treating you? I, for one, still enjoy running Windows. Not to flex or anything. Let me see. Okay. So I think I can do something sort of fancy here. I was thinking about this. Somewhere else. I switch to XFCE. XFCE, it's goated, as the kids say. My favorite desktop environment. I only use the window manager for Rising and Reddit Karma. Well, XFCE is its own, provides its own window manager. I think the only reason why you would want to use a custom one is for Rising for sure, or if it like you build your entire workflow around it. Focus on the stuff I do. Yeah. Well, just so we're getting the terminology clear, a desktop environment is provides a window manager for you. But if what you're referring to is that you don't want to manage your own window manager anymore, then I agree. Oh man, this is the first time I'm like speaking out loud today. I've somewhat realizing I have not spoken out loud this entire for all of today. How bizarre. Let me think. Yeah, XFCE, that's my favorite one. Because it's a very Windows XP workflow. Oh, you know, it's when this tab goes to sleep, this GIF kind of just forces it to hang for whatever reason. How bizarre. Alright. So base element. I think what I can do, yeah, I'll just do it like this. So these will all be that's not entirely true. Okay, I think these will just all have to be separate. So then we'll just have like a line edit element, something like that, inherits from a line edit. Or I guess it's text input. We'll call it text input element. So text input, checkbox, or because it's not just a line edit. It's a very specific type of script. I guess we'll just call it what it's going. Text input, checkbox input, yeah, or line edit inputs, yeah, that's close enough. So line edit inputs, we'll create a few more. This will be a checkbox input, or just checkbox. No, these are all going to be H boxes. You know what? Brain is also not working today. I spent all day on the phone. Unfortunately. Oh, but then I still don't really know what these are supposed to be. So they are, almost all of them are going to be H boxes. Alright, so these will be base elements. Make this an H box. Because what the idea is we're going to take this idea of, because these are all kind of generated on the fly, and I think something that would help with some of these just random views is to also generate them on the fly instead of having to, because these are all more or less built-ins, but it's tedious having to go back after the fact to hook them all up like this. Like, I don't think this is a good system. I think this is actually a really bad system, but I think I do have to be more reserved in how I follow that pattern. Alright, but my coffee is ready. I'll be right back. I'm so tired. It's me, I'm back. Now with coffee. Had some trouble fishing some ice out of my freezer. Alright, so... Because this sucks. I hate this. I hate this a lot. But is there a better way of doing this? Because I do like it how they're all just kind of laid out like this. Or maybe I don't need to maintain references to the individual elements. Hold on. Because I know that going with individual or going with abstract elements was kind of a design flaw in the original code, because it made it hard to, because if you're going with abstract elements, you should always use the abstract UI elements. You should not just try to, everything should inherit from that base abstract elements, whereas this one is more ad hoc. I'm trying out Emacs. Emacs, the most powerful editor I don't know how to use. If only because it makes my hand hurt. Doom Emacs, I got to the part of opening a project. Oh, congratulations. I've really only used Emacs for org mode. Org mode is pretty cool. It's something that I wish Vim had better support for. I know there are plugins for like a pseudo org mode in Vim, but it's not the same, you know. Oh, okay, so here we go. That's not so bad. Oh, and then I can do like just connect elements, so I can have like a. Okay, so base pop-up tree lamp. Yeah, the problem with Emacs is that everything is a shortcut, and there's like multiple layers of commands, which is also true in Vim, I suppose. But I feel like Vim is more ergonomic. Emacs shortcuts kind of hurt to press. Because it's like, all right, I hope you like pressing Alt, Alt and Super at the same time. Are there any Alt Super commands? I don't remember. But I don't like using my thumb to press those buttons. Unless I suppose you turn your entire hand sideways and just kind of sprawl it over the keyboard. Let me see. Go back here. Model, here. Okay. So here, we need to start hooking stuff up. So we'll do it here for now, and then I'll be able to break it out to the superclass eventually. So this will be some sort of control. And then we'll do, I'm pretty sure type of is not what is not gonna work for me here. I think this is just gonna have to be a very long if else statement. Think about it. Don't need this to be up anymore, I suppose. I was running some Golang earlier on in the day. Don't worry about that. So Go GD script doc. Give me the docs. GD scripts. No, absolutely not. Well, maybe. I don't know. Send me. Godot API GD script. Yeah, GD script. So isn't there type of? No, type of just gives me type exists or type of. Doesn't type of. Using the variant, yeah, no, I don't want variant type. Yeah. Okay. So that means I do need to do it like this. Another shortcoming of GD scripts. You cannot compare these things exactly in a match statement, which is fair, I suppose. So if, well, you could do a match if I did like a control get class, I think. C is class does not take the class name declarations into account. The base class name will be returned instead. Yeah, okay. That's fine. This is a bit easier, but it is also string based. So match get class. And then can't you do a class DB thing? Class DB. Class DB. All right, class DB. Let's look for class DB and see if I can do any fancy stuff here. Class exists. Get class list. Get inheritors for class. Get parent class. Instance, no. Okay, there's no good way of doing this. Like the easiest way, of course, is just to do like line edit like that, because there's no enum. At least I don't think there's an enum of just everything here, and then there's no way to get this thing as an enum either, because these are all just strings. Yeah. I think. Isn't that true? So on object, that's an object thingy. Object, object, object. Here. Yeah, I know you can do this in C#. Yeah. Okay. God, what a pain. We'll do it like this. It's a bit fragile, but I guess when is whatever I'm working not fragile. Alright, so these are the only 3 things we have for now. And then we can just pass it along like that. So connect button, control. So it must be a control. That's exactly what we're expecting. But after that, we cannot make any guarantees. Connect check button, control. Oh, and you know something that I could do, which is even worse? Oh no. Oh no, that would require me to snake case it as well. Like manually snake case the word, which is tough. Connect line edits. Oh, okay, and then we also need to have the signal name associated with it, which isn't too hard. It's not too hard. Okay. Yeah, that's not hard. Signal name string. Signal name. Yeah, that's not so bad. But what I was thinking I could do is this, which is you do a call. So call, like connect this thing. Insert in the control, get class, capitalize. And then you would need to then split, then you would need to split the entire thing. Oh, okay, I'm doing it. I don't feel good about it, but I'm gonna do it. So func, snake case, or to snake case. Snake case. So some sort of takes a string as an input, and then split, which will be a full string array. So split. No, we capitalize, then split based off of the spaces, and then for I in split, we'll want to take the first character, var value, be some sort of string for sure. We'll do I 0. Well, no, it'll be wait. I think I need to substring it. Yeah. Or no, I can just slice it. Yeah, I can just slice it. So like this. So this will be to lower. And then this will be I substring 1 to the end. Yeah. There we go. It's not my favorite way of doing it, but this is how you would build a string. Okay, let's have a builder. So this will be some sort of string builder. So builder, full string array, like one of these. Then we'll do return builder join delimiter nothing. Well, not true. Delimiter is going to be a lower thing here. Do builder append this entire value. Okay, cool. Took a while. And then here we'll snake case whatever the class is. So like this, to snake case, control get class. Oh no. So the easy solution would have been to just change the method name, but then that would kind of mess up the naming convention I had going, which I'm trying to avoid. All right, so we don't even need this. Look at that, it's beautiful. And by beautiful, I mean absolutely terrifying. Oh, and then we need to... Yeah, okay, we can do signal name. That. So it's kind of an interface, almost, but not really. But this, this'll work. This'll work. So we'll call connect whatever the class name is, and then we'll also pass in the signal name as well in call. So signal name. And so for connect button, it will be just do nothing at all. Yeah. Okay. So let's see if this will work. We can hit it with a connect element load model. All right. I mean, let's give it a try. This is pretty exciting if it works. It's also kind of fragile. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, it's because I didn't pass in the... Oh, I see. Yeah, I see. Where is it? Here, I need to pass in the control as well. There we go. Because call is one of the few functions in GDScript that has var args. Well, it's not one of the few, but you can't define your own var args. Oh, I hate that this works. But it does really help. Yeah, so I can move a lot of these things out to something else. And actually, a lot of these don't even need to be... Oh no. Taking what I know about, from what I learned from this application, which you can actually find on my GitHub as well, I'm very tempted to follow that same pattern, where that same pattern refers to using a true singleton. So if we go into utils, okay. Where am I in terms of changes to this application? Git status. Why am I messing with the Go root here? I don't remember. Man, I wonder how much better this coffee would taste if I had creamer instead of just drinking everything black. Let's not do the handler thing just yet, but I think this is not so bad. So a lot of these set config, a lot of these can be set or be moved over to the superclass, which is nice. Where is this even used? Set config float amount. On text changed. Okay. Yeah, I think this is super doable. So here, private functions, toggle page. We're not worrying too much about that. Toggle page, yeah, base pop-up tree layout. But all of these things here. So we'll grab these, move it over. Oh no. He's doing it. He's beginning to believe, which means that we need to get rid of this stuff. And then for these connections, so item selected, okay, well, no, don't do this. region. This will be like element handle elements, UI elements. Okay, and then these will be the UI element callbacks. It's weird how when I first started programming, I really disliked the idea of callbacks. I was like, why would you use a callback? Why wouldn't you just do everything in line? So you just block in the the current function until it gets back to you, so you don't have to pass in another function. But now I'm like, callbacks are pretty sick. Makes it really easy to sub in new functionality when you need it. So function on pressed. So this should actually be an error. So logger error on pressed not yet implemented for string value. This will be just name like that. So just ensure we don't do anything. On model selected, that's very specific. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. That's fine. We don't need to move that over. This one though, Untitled. So we have the state, which is a Boolean, and then we'll also pass over, or we assume we always pass over the original elements as well, so we can figure out who the caller was. This is something I wish I knew earlier on in my Godot lifetime. It's the ability to pass in the original object you connected to at connection time. I suppose it does tell you that that's possible in the documentation, but you know. Who reads documentation anyways, am I right? On text changed. Alright, text entered is just going to be the same. This one's pretty easy. Text entered. Text string. I suppose this is not actually strictly true though. I should probably make this more portable, or reusable is a better term. So I can reuse this for text edits if I ever decide to add those in. What are these signals for a text edit actually? Text edit, text edit, text edit. Give me the deets. So you also have, oh, you do not have text changed. All right, that's tough. Oh, and this should be on button pressed. Yeah, on button pressed, on check button toggled, on line edit. Text changed, okay. Because unfortunately there's no function overloading, which is a feature I actually like. It might be a hot take. So on button presses. Some of these should be incorrect, but because everything is referred to as a string, they don't show up as being wrong. That's fine though. text changed, and then text entered. Text entered. Oh, and then we also need to pass in the line edit here as well. So on config updated. On config updated. Is that something I need to do? On config updated. Okay. Okay. There's something fancy I can do here. There's something fancy I can do here. On config updated. So it'll always be some sort of value. We have no idea what the value is going to be. But here, we can guarantee that we'll have a control as a callback. There'll be some sort of UI element. Then, can I do the same fancy thing I did before? I think I can. I think I can. Get class. How can I do that with get class? So, I guess like this should probably be static just for my own sanity's sake. But connect, so call, no. Hold on, there's a good way around this. There's a smart way of doing this, which is bad because you should never do anything in a smart way. Or anything, that's not literally what I mean, but if you do something that is as smart as you can figure out, you're not going to be able to debug it in the future. On config updated. I think this is still the best way of doing it. So there's match, control, get class. Unfortunately, I think that is still the best way of doing it. Yeah, so we'll do button. There's literally nothing to do here, so there's no reason to hook this up. So we'll do logger, probably like debug, hit it with a debug, or probably logger trace. This shouldn't happen. Or, maybe that's okay. We'll think about it. For now, we'll do a logger debug. On config updated for button not yet implemented. Check button. This one's pretty easy. It'll be control press is equal to the value cast to a boolean. Line edit. Okay. What other things do I have here? Like most of these are just, yeah, everything here is either a line edit or a check button. So that's pretty easy for the most part. Yeah. That's pretty easy for the most part. Okay. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Yeah, so this is actually closer to, yeah, the base pop-up tree layouts. Yeah, it's basically an abstract class. Or a trait, if you will, because this is more of an interface. Yeah, let me take all of these out. Replace all of these with these, or not with these, but with connect elements instead of connect button. Right? So all of these are just ba, ba, ba. I guess I can do, yeah, just hit it with a really simple replace all. Or replace, or change all occurrences. Yeah, and then here, change all occurrences. Yeah, so these should all work, I think. Run me. Default GUI, oh baby. Untoggled, not yet implemented for model. That's fair. Hold on. I'm seeing a lot of log spam, which might be a sign of an error. Let me move this over to my bottom screen. Untoggled, not yet implemented, that's fine. So all of these toggles will not do anything. Untoggled is an error, that's good. Yeah, look at that. So we can look at it error out in real time. Looseness, yeah, this looks, yeah, that looks about right. Blink threshold is kind of messed up. I'm not sure if this is just hooked up improperly. Yeah, but link eye blinks, untoggled, not yet implemented, so it doesn't do anything. Yeah, that feels about right. Yeah, I'm feeling okay about that. I'm feeling okay. Like, this is still bad. This is still really bad, but I don't know a better way of doing this, unfortunately. I guess what I could do, so these aren't as heavy, I suppose. Oh, and actually, what I can do is, because I don't need, maybe I do need to, I'm thinking about it. Hold on. Connect element. I don't know. Maybe this will work. What am I doing? We do it like this. So we just kind of run it at load time. So we don't need any more yield. Okay, no, we still do. We still need it. We still need the yield. Okay. But at the very least, we don't need to store a reference to it, which is good enough for me. Yeah, okay, that's fine. No errors showed up in the debugger at the very least. So we can do this. You might argue it's less clean, but I don't know. I think it's fine. Because we always pass along the reference as well. It does mean that this is going to be a huge pain. Just very manually going over. I think this is one area where Vim really excels, is because you can have multiple thingies up. Phrasing. But you can have multiple windows open, and then you can just rapidly flip to and from a window. So all you would need to do is, like, hit it with a, I don't know, what is it called? What key is it? I only know what the key feels like to press. Is it J? J? Yeah, you hit it with a J, switch your or J, big B, V, big E, yank. Switch your view over to the right side. Go down to the corresponding thingamajig. Then insert it in. Instead of this very, very mouse-oriented workflow that I have going on right now. Which isn't too bad. I mean, it's very error-prone, but, it's fine. We'll think about it. We'll think about it. Put it on the list. Yeah. The benefit of doing things like this is that we only hold on to, we declutter our kind of current element scope, which is good. Less variables just floating around. We only hold on to variables when we need the variables, as opposed to holding on to a variable just because, I don't know, because it's nice. Okay, cool. So then we can take out all of these. Look at that, it's so clean. Except for this part, ignore this. Oh, we have an error as well. Ooh. So you, okay. So match button. Oh, that's what we needed it for, because we were matching against the exact thing. Okay. Well, hold on, I can think about this. We can solve this. So for buttons, we can just pass in a string and then connect based off of that. So connect element. So we'll always have a signal name. We won't make this optional, which is gonna throw more errors, but that's fine. Oh, hello, Ava. Thank you very much for the raid. Much appreciated. How are you doing today? Oh no, Issa raid? Issa raid, Issa raid. Hello, hello, Dora. Hello, 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 hello. What I am working on, I just broke something, so bear with me. I am working on this application. It's called OpenCPaste GD. It's a free and open source Vtuber application written with Godot. I'm currently rewriting the majority of it. So we're on to the final part, which is the GUI, which is exciting for all parties involved. But yeah, what were you working on? Hello, hello. Nice raid message. Kind of reminds me of, you know, it's me, Mario. But, so Issa is part of your name. Pass in this. So we can pass it in backwards if we want. So this will be just the signal. So I'll pass in the signal name and then match off of, yeah, don't match off of the button, match off the signal name. So this will just have to be more or less hard-coded, but that's fine. Look at that. So I've reduced my reliance on just random variables hanging out, which means that this doesn't actually need to pass along the button for hooking stuff up. While working out really playing some PlayStation demo games and Quake, then doing an art stream. Ooh, a true Renaissance woman, I think. It's unfortunate that Renaissance man and Renaissance woman are kind of tagged to a specific gender, aren't they? Let me see. Renaissance individual doesn't really have the same ring to it. All right, connect button. All right, so we can actually connect against the signal name here and then just decline to use the button. We could always pass along that button though, I suppose. Very variety. Good variety. Which PlayStation demos did you play? Did you play the Bloodborne PlayStation 1 demake? That one looked cool. Alright, so pass along the signal name, and then we can signal name, just pass along the button as well for whatever reason. Maybe it'll be useful, but probably not. Let's add a to-do. To-do. Most things don't use the button. No, it sounds interesting. Yeah, it was blowing up on Twitter. It was one of the few things that I actually noticed on my Twitter, because I don't know, I don't really follow that much game dev stuff on Twitter. Mostly because of the toxicity that's always in the replies. It's like, oh, game devs are always so lazy. And it's so easy, just tweak a few values. It's never that easy. Annoys the inner developer in me to no end. Yeah, but there is a Bloodborne PS1 demake that looks really cool. Alright, I think this is fine. So then we'll go up to here. Load model. Send me back to here so I know which signals I'm trying to hook up. So set model default. I'm heading back to bed. I got a raging headache. I'm sorry. Am I contributing to that? Big apologies. But sweet dreams, etc. PlayStation Bloodborne is super fun. See, someone knows what I'm talking about. Someone knows what I'm talking about. Connect on press. These are the connect. Oh, go back to here. Connect elements. Okay, so not everything needs to have the signal name, I suppose. So bring this back to just being optional. So signal. So connect check button doesn't necessarily need a specific signal to emit. So then this should be fine. Save this. Go back to here. Save this. Okay. So reset model transform. This needs to connect to reset model transform. Phenomenal. Reset model pose. But yeah, how are you all doing today? I'll tell you about my day. I've been sitting on hold on the phone all day, so that was it was nice being able to get paid to just sit in queue for tech support, then inevitably get dropped because the company's phone connection is just garbage for some reason. That's always nice. All right, so untoggled. Because, you know, instead of granting me access to whatever system they needed, they instead just yeeted me from the system. So at least I've covered my tracks. No problems there, but it does also mean that I'm kind of stuck with nothing to do. It's very strange. All right, so head bone. So this is match against the signal name. Hold on. I would really like to show off what I've been working on, but I need to unbreak it really quickly. I think most of these are fine. Oh no. Rotation damp. Additional bone damp. I would also generally be dropping links into chat, but you know, it's okay. That's what the bot is for, even though the bot isn't making itself super known. Is interpolation enabled? No, rates. Gaze interpolation rate. Gaze interpolation rate. Mouth interpolation rate. Eyebrow interpolation rate. And then gaze strength. Okay. On text change, this one needs to also be modified. Almost never need the actual control to be passed along now. Oh, I forgot to turn this back off. On config updated, we had the control, blah blah. Which is fine. Line edit, this one needs to pass along the signal name. I'll rethink that API in the future. All right. On text change, we don't use the line edit, and we also don't have this thing enabled. All right, which means most of these don't need to be changed because I'm already passing along the signal. Very good, very good. So interpolate global is the check button stuff, so let's not worry about that. But base interpolation rate, bone interpolation rate. Okay, I don't know. Let's just see if it works. I haven't really thought about it too hard. All right, so this is what it looks like right now. Oh, baby. Okay, cool. So here we go. We can change all these things. It's not actually hooked up to anything per se. We have a few options. You might notice that this does look quite a bit better than this UI. So if you were to put these side by side, I don't really have a good way of putting them side by side, and dragging this over to my vastly lower resolution side monitor is going to be a problem. Let's do it anyways. I wish there was an easy way to scale. Oh no, we're losing parts of it. I've lost one of my menus. They don't quite organize themselves as you would expect, unfortunately. But yeah, that's not too bad. IMO. So compare these options to these options. I think that's not bad. I think that's not bad. That's not bad. So I think I have a good system, maybe, or at least it's not super fragile. Still need to think the finer details out, and I'm sure I'll run into lots of weird edge cases, but you know, it's not too bad. Not too bad. It is very tedious though, having to go through construct each UI, because this one just constructed the UI on the fly, which is nice. Whereas, well, it's nice in that it's really easy to construct the UI. It's a nightmare to, I guess, change individual bits because everything is basically a prefab that you don't have direct access to. I was writing a UI library to help handle that, but you know, we're not quite there yet. So now we're just doing everything manually. So I think this isn't too bad. I'm going to refill my coffee and be right back. BRB. Hello, hello. The UI on the fly, cannot lie. Makes me feel like I'm gonna die. Oh no. I love how the duck model just sort of wiggles around when, yeah. It is pretty cool. Look at that. Okay. Let's do the last bit, which is the untoggled. I think I can take out the line edit here. So this is no longer a requirement. Well, it is just nice to have, just in case. So on text changed. And then on config updated. Oh, you know what? Let's take this out as well. So this doesn't need to be updated, unless it explicitly needs to be updated. This one doesn't need to be updated as well. That should just work. That is a duck. I have my own duck. Look at this. I like the ASCII duck. That just uses really big pixels. Let me see. Text change. I think these are all fine. We hit it with an emit signal, and we don't need to clear it afterwards. Duck battle. I think I'm gonna lose. I've been very lazy about my emotes. But maybe one day. Maybe one day. Let me see. State signal name. I think I actually, hold on. Most of these are just setting stuff, right? And then I just pass along. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go. So if signal name. Well, we can just keep it inside the match. That's fine. right? But then we'll just have the default here. Set config float amount, signal name, because everything is pretty much going to be a signal name. Text. Yeah, one of those. So we can take most of these out. This is the only fancy one we need to worry about. But even then, well, what does this function do? Oh, it just converts it to a float. Phenomenal. There's no type attached to any of these. I could attach a type to the hookup function, so it's just connect element, and then I handle all the connections using these functions. One of the good parts and nice parts about Godot is that things are string driven, so that's a bad part because strings are hard to manage, but it's also a good part because it allows for really easy reflection. Where it's not really reflection, it's just mostly just kind of blindly calling something and hoping it's correct. So that's all right. Set config float amount. Okay, okay. That's probably fine. Don't use the button in any of these. I'll have to rethink it. Untoggled. Probably not going to use the check button here either. But I think this one is just like AMPS emit signal name, and then the state. That's probably it. And then we can keep track of changes. If we go into here, actually, I don't even need to keep track of changes. Oh, you know what? This is going to be wrong. Yeah, because these don't get hooked up properly. Yeah, there's an error. Let me see. Oh, that's good. Look at that. Connect check button. Signal toggled. Method expected 2 arguments but called with 3. Where? Connect check button. Here. CM get data. What? Method expected 2 arguments but called with 3. Where? 110? Emit signal. No? Oh, it's from an emit signal. Ah, okay. This kind of broke. What the heck? This is not correct whatsoever. What the heck? Yeah. Yeah. What? Okay. All right. There's nothing obvious that's jumping out at me. So bring me back to here. So the stack trace is connect element. Yeah. Here. Emit signal on pressed. Or is it because I'm setting the pressed? Oh, okay. So we can do check button, set pressed no signal. Then that's thing. Yeah. Okay. I remember that, yeah, this happens sometimes. If you are in the middle of connecting something, but you don't. Yeah. Oh, it's because of this. Yeah. This part. So it's connected, but then when you just do a raw set of the pressed value, it will actually emit that signal, toggled, which will then break because we don't have anything that's connect to it, I suppose. Or everything isn't in place yet. So you want to do like that during setup for all buttons. The more you know. The more you know. So that should still be an error. But, oh, that's also still an error. All right. So the initial connection and then fixed. But now when we're calling stuff that's not fixed, let me see. So register no. This stuff toggled. All right, so now these are all just the emit signal stuff. Method expected 2 arguments but called with 3. 2 arguments. Oh, okay. These all need to change as well. So all untoggled. These will now all expect. What did I change it to? On press signal name. Yeah, everything expects a signal name now. Oh, and then this one. Oh, these are all wrong. Yeah. What do you know? So on button pressed. So signal name. Forgot. We're changing a bunch of stuff. And I probably shouldn't be. Well, selected on toggled, on check button toggled. So signal name. Signal name. We're getting there. This is the first UI, so once I figure out how to do the first UI, everything else should just fall in line. Probably. That's the dream. Signal name. Yeah, there we go. Then everything else should be pretty easy. So online edit, whatever. Okay, so now they're actually hooked up properly. Probably. Maybe. Okay, no errors. We can hook it. One error, can't emit non-existing signal empty. Okay. So apply translation. Does this have a signal attached to it? It does not. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's fair. So when we are handling it, so if signal name, well, let's think. Let's think. So of course that signal doesn't exist because I have not registered a signal for that yet. This should actually line up with something else because these are not config values. Yeah, so if I go back to here, everything's fine, all green. But these are not config values. These are kind of local values, local to the scene. So, well, apply translate. Actually, why are these here? Should these be here? Yeah, maybe. Actually, yeah, no, these are valid things to have stuff. Yeah, these map back 1-to-1 in the model config stuff. So this is under apply. Yeah. Apply translation, apply rotation. Might be wondering, doesn't this seem very fragile, having all your signals be defined by strings? I'm not going to answer that. We'll just kind of silently ignore it and hope it goes away. Alright, but now you can set all of these things. Seems fine. It looks like the debouncer is working as well. So then we can set this. Maybe the debouncer isn't quite working. Oh no, it totally works. Yeah. You can't really see it because I'm blocking the config, or I'm blocking the console, and then I also have an alternative console open on my other monitor. But we can close this, open it back up. Don't worry about that view, we're gonna change it in the future. Oh, well, maybe not. Did it not load in properly? So all of these should be enabled. So eye options, we can also change that. We go into here, introspect on the config manager, model config for the current model. And we're looking for link eye blinks, yeah. Use raw eye rotation, yeah. Oh, is it because it's not saving it properly? That could be it. That could be it. I do notice I have an error. Yeah, error calling method from apply translation. Method not found. Yeah. Really? No default runner on config changed. On config changed. Really? Model GD 110 on config changed. Emit signal on config changed. Eh? Where? I would say this is one of the pains of asynchronous programming, but I'm pretty sure signals in Godot are actually like synchronous. On config updated, yeah. Apply translation node default runner on config changed. Method not found. That's true. So on config changed. Okay, yeah. So in my runner traits, so setup config on config changed. Oh, I remember this. Virtual functions that set up commonly used connections. Oh, I remember this from way back, from months ago when I was setting up all the traits and stuff. Curses. But I'm pretty sure this callback does not exist. On config changed. Yeah, I guess there's no reason to set up the config like that though. Yeah. Or actually, no. That's probably okay. Yeah. Because then this allows me to do apply. I think small cars here is a mood. Yeah. Such a pain. Who wrote this? I wrote this. What a pain. So logger error on config changed, not handled, or not yet implemented. Logger error. Signal whatever received. Just insert that into here. I need to be less stingy with my logging. I noticed it's a bad habit of mine to not log and instead just try to fix something, or make sure that we never get into that position in the first place, but I know I shouldn't be stingy about it. Let me check the file system. These are my release templates. We don't want to be here. So under export, this is where they should be saved. So they're not saving, or it's only saving my metadata stuff for whatever reason. So config manager, it's under utils. So under save, save data. Let me see. Doesn't this should just be handled by the app manager. So app manager is my big singleton manager. Because actually, singletons in Godot aren't really singletons. They're like pseudo singletons. It's a bit weird. So it is possible to have a real singleton in Godot, which is something I've kind of figured out when I wrote this thing, a stream stuff runner, that uses real singleton classes. Because in Godot, when you have a constant of some sort of collection type, you can actually change the contents of that collection, which is hilarious. Which allows you to, use static methods to change states on an object that isn't instantiated yet. So you can guarantee there will only ever be one instance of that object. Which is it feels like a workaround, probably is a workaround, but I mean, it's worked like that for a while. So save config instance, save data. I should probably be checking this. Or if model config oh, you know what? It's because of this. If model config name is not equal to model config default name, but I don't have the ability to change the config name. So when we load in the model, load model config, yeah, okay. So in the runner traits, where's my runner trait? Runner traits. Default, no, okay, maybe in default runner. Default runner, setup logger, setup scene, load model, default model path, and then we can try to grab the model name. What am I doing? So setup scene, load model, set initial, okay, so I don't actually have a config either, so that's fine. So that's AM, CM. Okay, so now load model config. Hold on. How did I handle this before? So under screens, I wrote this by the way, which is why I'm well, I wrote this even though it seems like I didn't write this. It's because most of this I just kind of wrote all in one go and then just kind of patched it together, so I don't really remember how most of it works. There was an idea, but it's been reworked several times. There was an idea of how it should work, but I don't quite remember how everything actually works. So when you load a model, when do I load in the configuration? Yeah, because this is just loading the model. Try load model. Do we load it in the config and try load model? No. At least I don't think I do. Yeah, no. When do I load in the configuration? I no longer gonna look for a bit. Do some housework. Ooh, housework. I did housework last week. I should probably mop. I've really only vacuumed, which might be a bit disgusting, but it's not that bad in my opinion. And as long as you don't like drop stuff everywhere, although I should mop a bit more than I usually do. Is it weird that I only mop once a month? Please. GitHub. The GIF. I need to get rid of this GIF. It's so slow. Alright, so config manager. Oh, you know what? It's probably under screens, right? So the main screen. Like I hate this. I hate how this works. Yeah, so under clean load, that's probably, yeah, okay, I see. App manager CM load config and settings, okay. It's like an unreasonable amount of like separation of concerns that I see. Okay, so instead of doing that, I can move that config loading logic to here, load model. So finish the loading model, and then we'll also want to hit it with, so file path, load config and set as current. How does that work here? So under utils, config manager, I've also changed how I've been doing most of my file naming stuff. But, oh God, I hate this. So load config and set as current. So model path get whatever. Okay, so config manager. This is just load model config. Load model config no sets. Yeah, so this just holds onto it in memory. Yeah. Which is the difference. I should probably annotate that. File open. Does it take your file name? Model. Get file, get base name. So I can try doing amcm load model config. Then we'll do path get file get base name. So what that does is it gets the file name. So the file name of like the default duck will be called duck.textscene, which is the result of get file, and then get base name just gives you the, you know, the base name. Hard to say. The full file path without the extension, yeah. So you don't need to do any find and replace. It should just work. It should also be fairly fast as well. Oh, yeah. Do need to check that this works properly. So if this is error, then I guess we'll want to hit it with a logger. Error, failed to load model config. I think you can do this. Oh. So this is a very Golang style of handling errors, but it's kind of what you have to do in Godot, because Godot does not have good support for this kind of stuff. AKA catching and handling errors. I think the main philosophy of Godot is that you're supposed to make sure you don't run into any errors at runtime. Whereas for this kind of application, I can't guarantee that. Sometimes things just break and you don't know why. You know, story of my life, more or less. If config result is error, then want to do config results, just toString, I suppose. Should be fine. And then here in app manager, where did I put it? Is it here? Is it here? Base config? No. App manager. Save config. We also want to check the result here. So var result is equal to cm save data. If result is error, then we'll do logger error, fail to save config. Boom, boom, bit of string formatting, results to string, and I believe results should auto format themselves. Yeah, more or less. Yeah. All right, now send me. Now send me. Should we get some stuff? No description, but it's a config manager model config load error, which means that we should be using a default config, which means a lot of these should be loading in properly, maybe? No. Model load. Config changed. Expected one argument we called with 2. Okay. That's usually fine anyways. We can always just load in something. So cube will have its own configuration. Didn't get updated, that's fine. We can. Don't quit. Just go to main menu. Load this in again. Make sure that these are changing. I'm not sure if that's true or not. It might just still be loaded in memory. Hard to say. Okay, it was just loading in memory. That's disappointing, to say the least. So let's fix this part first. So the default runner config changed, or it's in the runner traits. Pub sub get out of here. Model config also get out of here. Runner traits, yeah. So config changed. This is hooked up with one arg, which is the signal name, should be. Starting load model. Hey. Did I imagine that error? So you go into here, toggle it, get an error. Apply translation on config changed. Method expected one argument but called with 2. Debugging the stream. On config changed. Called with 2, but expected 1. Default runner. On config changed. Yeah. It's only used in 2 places. Then here. Oh, you know what? It's probably expecting a value as well. So we register for these. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this has a value associated with it. We don't know what the value is going to be. Associated with value. That's fine. We'll need to string it because we have no idea what it might be. Yeah. One more time, just to make sure that we're... want to do one error at a time. Unconfig not yet implemented. Unconfig changed. Signal apply translation receive a value true. Config change not yet implemented. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. That's true. Very true. Just paste all of this here. Kind of ugly. You know, that's fine. That's what my parents said about me, but here I am. Okay. So is it because, or is it on load errors? It's not generating an appropriate config. So if return results, whatever. Oh, if results. Oh, okay. So I actually need to handle this myself. I remember now. I see. It's all coming back to me. It's all coming back to me. So if it's an error, we don't just want to like sit down and cry about it. I mean, we could also do that at the same time. But we do want to create a new config as well. So create the new config first, then cry about it. So just create a new one. Hope it's good enough. Var MC Minecraft model config. Isn't it weird? Like I remember I was one of the first people to, well, maybe not one of the first people to play Minecraft, but I did play the beta all the way back in the day. And then it was really popular for a little bit, fell out of popularity, and now apparently it's super popular again. It's crazy. That was back in the, when I was still in high school. It's MC. Alright, what's in model config? So there's the default name. MC config name is equal to, hold on, var model name is equal to path get file get base name, just so we don't repeat an operation. I mean, it's fine, but you know. Yeah, I think that's okay. MC model name is equal to model name. Wow. So that might seem redundant, but as with all of these presets, so you have duck front and duck side, these have the same model name, but the config name can be different. Yeah, that's the thinking behind that. It made sense to me at the time. Model path. I should say I do have pretty high confidence in all of these base objects. It's only once we're starting to get into the real implementation, everything's starting to fall apart, which is, you know, about par for the course for my style of programming. Really should try to plan things out more. Config for model name not found. Creating new config. Some model name. Yeah, there we go. Send me. We should notice a log config for duck not found, creating new config, finish load model for duck. Okay, so hopefully, yeah. So apply translation. On config change not yet implemented, that's fine. The config should still change, and then iOptions. Link iblinks doesn't really have an effect for these kind of models, but it's still technically exposed. So then we'll quit out. When we quit out, it instantly tries to force a save. Okay, well. Config for duck not found. Creating new config. Huh. Really? Really, 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 really. So I'm pretty sure we're doing this correctly. Yeah, so now there's a duck.json. We can look at it. Wow. Look at that. I'm sure this is correct because I have covered all of these via unit tests. JSON is not my favorite method of saving stuff, but that's okay. Because it's so verbose. Which is it's kind of weird coming from someone who doesn't think Java is a bad language, but let me see. Config, translation. Bones to interpolate, no. Apply translation, value true. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I got it. I got it. I know why. I know why this is borked. It's because here, this should be load model config for string format dot the ending dot JSON. And I should also not be hard coding the file ending. So let's do like a const file extension or config file extension. Config file extension. File extensions don't matter, by the way. I think it's a common misconception for a lot of people that file extensions, like if you change a file extension for anything, it will, you know, immediately blow up. It might blow up for certain programs. Like if you change the file extension of a Word document from like a, I don't know, like a, for whatever, but most times it doesn't matter. Or if you're editing the file directly, it doesn't really matter what you change the file extension to. File extensions are just for other programs to know how to treat the file. But it's something I see a lot with, even with like experienced programmers. It's kind of bizarre. But that's how you know someone is Windows only. Is that they care a lot about file extensions. Okay, so boom, boom. Close this. Bring me back. I think we're getting there. Oh, baby. Okay. So now we're loading stuff in properly. How fun. So now everything else should just fall in line. Which means back to the grind of just hooking stuff up. Oh, good. So runner traits. Bring me back to runner trait. I think these defaults here. These defaults. Is it not here? Oh, setup config. Virtual function that sets up commonly used config connections. So I think that's probably okay. We'll need to handle stuff initially myself. I'm gonna put my cup away so that the coffee doesn't stick to it. BRB. we're back. So on config changed. Let me think. How do we want to handle this? How do we want to handle this? Maybe, like, I just don't want to handle this? Maybe that's fine. Yeah, maybe that's fine. Because, like, we don't... Well... Yeah, we shouldn't be handling it here at the very least. So, grab all this, pass. This needs to be overridden as well, but here, under this stuff, setup config, setup scene, setup config? Yeah, setup config. So we'll set up the config stuff, yeah. Don't actually run any of these, because there's nothing in it at this point. But here, for the connection stuff, now that we have access to the model and all of these other stuff, we can do on config changed. You might notice that we're doing this in opposite order from how you would usually use these values. And that's because of how Godot handles certain, or that's how Godot handles signals and emitting signals. Yeah. So these args, the signal name, you can attach it as a callback argument, but whatever was emitted initially from the signal, so when you call emit signal and you pass args, those args are always passed first, and then your initial connection args are passed second, or passed later. So it's kind of tough. Just gotta remember that. Usually you would be able to work around that by just not doing it this way. But I don't have that luxury. I'm trying to do things in a more automated way. So match signal name. So apply translation. This one's pretty easy, I think. Or it's possible, actually, that I could just try to do like a set get kind of thing. So just do like a raw get. See if that value exists normally. Yeah, you know what? Well, let's not try to get too fancy with this one. Doing it manually here is probably the better call. So apply translation is equal to value. Apply rotation. What am I doing? Ah. Then apply. No, that's pretty much it. There should track I, which is here. Should track I. I is equal to value. But then here in model, if I still have it open, model, we have move model, rotate model, and scale model, which are also signals that will be emitted, but do not go through, or they're not supposed to be handled by the configuration. One of these days I'll learn how to draw a really good architecture diagram. I feel like I'm really only good at drawing architecture diagrams for like microservices. Like microservices, easy, no problem. But for anything more complicated than that, I've got bad news. Anything more complicated than a microservice, it's going to be a little spaghetti, but who doesn't like a little pasta with their program? Move, rotate. rotate model, not rotation model, rotate model, and then scale model. And everything else is related to configuration. Yeah. So this is the config stuff. That's fine. And then this is also everything that is specific to the config. Yeah. So setup config, setup. Setup scene. Runner trait. Config manager, get out of here. Runner traits. Setup logger, setup config, setup scene. So setup scene, we'll probably just put that in setup scene, huh? Const scene listen values. So we'll do move model. Should probably have these in some sort of constant location instead of just putting them directly in the file. I do have a file called global constants I could put these in, but that's fine. Here, so these are initial values from config. This is setting up all the cameras and stuff. For I in scene listen values, we'll register. Yeah, we'll do the same thing, right? We'll just register these with ourselves. So on config changed. These are all the config stuff. We'll separate them out. So these are region config. Yeah. And region, and then we'll have region. This is like scene specific stuff. And then there is nothing in between. Otherwise, that should be considered an error. Because at that point, things start getting really hard to track. Yeah. I'll need to think about moving these. Pretty much all of these should be moved to some sort of constant or some sort of enum. And then we map it back to a constant. I'll think about it. So should move model, should rotate, should zoom. It's not really zooming. It's more of like a should scale. Yeah. Should move model, should scale model, whatever. So should move model is equal to whatever value it gives me. This one is rotate model. Should rotate model. And then scale model. Should scale model. Yeah. It's one of the hard parts about working on a project by yourself. Like the benefits of working on a project by yourself, right, is that you never need to justify yourself to anybody. But one of the that's also the benefit is also the detriment, is that because you never need to justify any design decisions. Sometimes you just kind of design yourself into a corner. So I don't like this. I don't like these. I don't like the fact that they're all kind of hard-coded as strings. Let's see. Hit it with a logger, info, not info, error, unhandled, signal blah with value blah. So signal name and then string whatever value comes in. Yeah, okay. So let me see. So here, this is config manager. We don't care about that. We'll go back to model display screen. I'm going to copy that code for handling inputs. Yeah, like this is gross, but I know it works. There's not really a better way around it either. I think these are still defined in my input map, right? Yeah, okay. Like that's not too bad. Left click, middle click, right click, scroll up, scroll down. We don't account for, whatchamacallit? We don't account for touchscreen just yet. Unhandled inputs. Input event. Okay. So UI accept should probably be replaced, but we'll get around to it. If event is action pressed, UI accept, do a thing, to do stub. And also in the input callback, which is one of the built-ins, you can guarantee that unless it's like an accumulated input, but it probably isn't. Yeah, there's no reason to do just a big if chain. Because once you handle it, you can guarantee that it won't be anything else. Yeah. So if events is, or if elif can manipulate model. When is can manipulate model? Oh, okay. These are actually handled somewhere else, I think, huh? Yeah, these are handled somewhere else. So this is, why did I design the original one like this? So you have two ways of moving your model around. I remember. You have two ways of moving your model around. You can either click on one of these, like, you know, move model buttons to move your model. So if you click it like that, then you can just use left click, or you can use the hotkey. You can use a hotkey to do it as well. So if you press Control, right click, you can move it, or you can just press move model and just use left click. What a pain. Who designed this, man? Must be some sort of dummy. Alright, but it was in here, I think. Yeah. Unhandled inputs. Yeah. So broadcast mouse motion data. I remember this as well. Broadcast mouse motion data. Model display screen. Doesn't this handle that? Unhandled? No. Who handles this? Broadcast mouse motion data. On mouse. Oh, you handle it. Oh, good. Mouse motion data. Okay. So, elif. Elif should move model and events is action pressed. Oh, because this you can't use. Gotta think of that. Because this only checks for is something just pressed essentially. So you need to keep track of whether or not something is like held down or not. So input, we'll do var is left clicking, false, then here. Elif events is action pressed, or what is action type? I don't remember what that does. Is action type is one that can be assigned to an input. Oh, yeah, get out of here. So is action pressed. So I think it was just called left click. Yeah, left click. I think you can also pass something to allow for, yeah, allow echo. Actually, maybe I should just allow echo, right? Not sure. Maybe I don't need to track whether or not we're actually left clicking. I've never thought too hard about some of the other parameters before. Oh, but then this makes it tough. You know what? That's fine, because you can't handle the same action twice in the same unhandled input event, I think, because they only give you, they're processed in the same frame but as different calls, if that makes any sense. input var is left clicking. Is left clicking. Left click. Might not be the most efficient way, but whatever. We'll think about it. Elif is left clicking and events is input events mouse motion. Let me think. So this one is doing it via broadcast mouse motion data. Not great, but I know why I'm doing that. Yeah, broadcast mouse motion data. Mouse motion data. Yeah, because that's how I built in like remote app support back when I was like back when I was still on board with the previous architecture. It's not hard to take that back out though. So if is left clicking and event is input event mouse motion. So if should move model, then model parent translate vector 3 mouse. Okay. Hold on. Event relative. And then that was X. Do the same thing for Y. No Z translation times your mouse move strength. Do I have that set up here? Not yet, but we can set that somewhere. Mouse move strength. There should be some sort of constant. Mouse move strength. Mouse move strength. Where? Donde? Mouse move strength. So set as a variable, even though it's not actually configurable just yet. Our mouse move strength. This might be worth slapping into the config at some point as well. I'll have to think about it. Trying to avoid bloating it too much. To do. Might want to move this to config. Oh, you know, it's right there. Zoom strength, so to do. All right. All of this stuff. Da da. All right, so times. Mouse move strength. Okay. So then if should rotate model. So you can have all the buttons enabled all at the same time. Don't know why you would want to do that, but it's not really my problem. Should rotate model. Do model rotate X. Events relative. Hehe. Y times mouse move strength. And this is rotate Y using the X component. Yeah. And then mouse scroll. Well, this is not any like scrolling motion. That's fine though. Yeah, and I think this doesn't need to be a separate if statement, but whatever. Elif event is action. Scroll up, and we'll do scroll direction. 1 and 2. Eh? 1 and 2. Scroll direction. Is this actually a bug? Oh, you know what? It might be bugged in the current version. I'm looking at the input parameter for the current version of OpenCFHGD, and it does not look right. I suppose I should try it out. It's not hard to test. Oh yeah, that is definitely bugged. Look at that. The more you know. The more you know. The more you know. I don't know why that's messed up. Translate vector 3 0 0 0 0. This is zoom strength, right? Zoom strength times the direction. So it's probably this way. Like times 1. And then elif events is action. Scroll down. We'll do this stuff, but just in the opposite direction. Right? Yeah. So, bring me back to here. Test it again. Default runner. Looks good. Everything blows up. Very good. Set press no signal. Invalid type and function set press no signal and base thing cannot convert argument 1 from nil to bool. Argument 1. Set press no signal. Cannot convert argument 1 from nil to bool. What is the signal name? Signal name is move model. That is not... okay. If not signal name empty, so that's not actually what I should be doing. This should be checking against var initial value is equal to amcm get data signal name. So if initial value is not null, then we'll do all of this stuff. So initial value. Because we just do like a blind get, essentially. So then we should be able to do, maybe not. Cannot emit non-existing signal move model. Okay, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. We just gotta track down all the bugs first. Cannot emit non-existing signal. So this is here. Oh, because the signal doesn't exist. That's right. That's right. So we can register a few signals, I suppose, as user signals. Yeah. So this is in module. It's not what we want. So what we want is in default runner to register those signals for me. So scene listen signals, that's probably okay. We can do amps, is it create signal? Yeah, create signal I. That's fine. Yeah, that should be okay. So what'll happen is if you go back to main menu, go back to here, it will kind of throw an error, maybe. Maybe not, maybe I handled that properly. There we go. Okay, so this actually gets caught by whatever is in front of here, but look at that. Yeah, look at that. You can rotate. You can rotate and move it at the same time. It would be kind of neat if you could script inputs as well. That's kind of broken, but that's fine. Or is this listening for the wrong input here? Should scale model. So what is this listening for? Oh, okay. An event is, okay. elif should scale model. Yeah. Probably shouldn't be changing this at a runtime. It's not too bad to do that, but sometimes it doesn't replace itself properly. So scale, scale, scale. There we go. We can rotate and scale, so we can rotate like that. Look at that. Look how long the duck is, by the way. It's not immediately obvious, but the duck is pretty long. And we can scale it. I don't remember if this is actually... Oh, actually, this isn't really scaling it. This is zooming the model. But... well, to think about it. Think about it. Should scale model. You know, let's change it. So this is should zoom model, and then I'll change some of these as well. So I think being able to scale the model would be nice. Yeah. Okay. Let's change that. Let's change that. So this is not scaling the model. This is zooming the model. So general. Where is it? Scale model. So this should actually be zoom model. Zoom model. Need to change this everywhere that it shows up. Otherwise it's going to blow up. Zoom model. Which is why I'm not a huge fan of this, by the way. Should really make these constant so I don't need to change these in several places, but we'll think about it. Long duck. It is a very long duck. Hello, hello, XFNW. How are you doing today? Should zoom model. Change all occurrences. Should zoom model. Not sure if that actually worked. Should zoom model. Yeah, that's all right. Probably didn't break anything. All right, so I think we're back to actually being able to apply configuration data, except for that. This still works. Zooming the model, kind of broken. Because key zoom model not found in model config. That's fine. Unhandled signal zoom model with value true. That's not fine. Which means here, setup config change. Oh, zoom model. All right, I'm really starting to dislike this. So let's go into global constants. Landing screen, blah blah. Extension types, that's fine. Let's do const. What am I calling these? These are like scene callbacks, scene signals, scene signals. Oh, I gotta do it like this. So move model. We don't care what it's called, but we can always change it on the back end. So scene signals, yeah. So I'm using this like an enum, but it's not actually an enum. Even though enums and Godot are just fancy dictionaries anyways. And actually, if you set up a dictionary just like an enum, then you can use it in an export var, which is also somewhat interesting. Yeah. So it's all an enum is, like an enum in Godot is not actually special at all. It's just syntactic sugar for like a string to integer map. A bit weird, a bit weird. I thought enums at least were a little special, but that's not true. Global constants. Scene signals. So this is move model. It's a bit verbose. I will not deny that. It was a bit verbose. But the nice part about big enum constants like this is that they are easier to maintain, in theory, in the future. I think I've been setting these all to the same value, by the way. Yep, these are all the same value, so this should be rotate model and zoom model. Rotate, zoom. Change this one to rotate and zoom. Cool. That's pretty much it for this thing, I think. Yeah, look at that. Now we just need to... This is landing screen. We don't care about landing screen. But the default GUI, bring me here. Empty. This is eating input, I think. Yeah. So ignore that. So now, if you bring up model... Okay, it's still eating input somewhere, or something is handling my input without my permission. Is it you? Are you eating my input? No, you're passing. Are you eating my inputs? So GUI should not be handling anything. Okay, so ignore. No, who's handling it? Give me back my inputs. Because I need you to handle inputs, right? I need all of these things to handle inputs, all the pop-ups. Base pop-up. Is maybe that's the base pop-up whenever you know, pop it up all the way. It technically expands across the entire screen, maybe? So, what is that property called? Mouse filter mode? Mouse filter to mouse filter ignore. Okay. So mouse filter is equal to control mouse filter ignore. Maybe that will help. No, okay. See, that's what I was worried about. Maybe this should be mouse filter pass. Mouse filter pass. That's not... Probably also incorrect, and now I'm thinking about it. So if you do this... No. Okay, that's fine. Heh. So it's not you. It's someone else in this big tree of... Oh, it's you, isn't it? It's you. So we want to pass sometimes, I think. I'm pretty sure it's that container. So if you do this... No? Okay. Really? Also, it doesn't really save state when you close it, but that's fine. Who else is eating my input? I'm pretty sure it's not you. You're just passing. Then you accept some inputs, but we're also ignoring it. If we look at the scene tree, default GUI, yeah, so we're really just looking for, yeah, the runner here. The runner needs to grab inputs, but if you do something like this, something is still catching it. But if you lower this, so you toggle the GUI off, that's fine. But if you have the GUI toggled on, I'm assuming, or I was assuming, that it was the H-split container. Like we don't want this to pass input, or we don't want this to ignore input for sure, because we still want the ability to do this. Like that's neat, I guess. But why is that? Like that doesn't feel correct, right? To have to toggle out and then toggle back in if you want to do something. Like it feels like this should still be valid, which means that there's something else here. Is it you? Probably not. Is it you? Ignore. It's not you, because you're already ignoring inputs. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Fine. Huh. So there's something else. Right? And it's not this pop-up either, because once you close the pop-up, once you close the pop-up, if the pop-up was eating my input, it should, no longer be eating my input. The only thing I can think of is the H-split container, but I don't want to ignore input there. That's bad, because then you'll never be able to, wiggle the container around. Unless there's a way for me to detect you know, when your mouse is over the little button handle, the mouse handle. Split container. Is there a way? Clamp, split, offset. Probably not. H split. Yeah, no, these are just like theming options, which I don't care about. It does inherit from this, but yeah. Let me think. I suppose I can just, is it this? Is it you? If events is action, press toggle GUI. So if I move this back to unhandled input, is it possible that that was it? Did I change this back, by the way? This should be possibly pass. So that's still handled. This is still handled. There's something here. There's something here. Like, we're still able to do this. That's good. Also still good. Because your pop-ups... Oh, actually, yeah, well... Yeah, your pop-ups are still within the default GUI, so that's fine. So it does respect the order. But... maybe if I move... this stuff. So we kind of flip it, so this is now... it's like that. So input is always called before unhandled input, which might not be super correct. Yeah, but like, that's okay. We can call both of them at once if you want. It's a bit weird. Yeah. So you could do that. That's doesn't feel correct. That doesn't feel correct to do it in like reverse order like that. Yeah, that feels so wrong. That feels so wrong to do it in reverse order. Because your GUI should always be handling your input first. So here, unhandled input. No, this should be just regular inputs. And then also probably just do like a quick get tree, set input as handled. But how did I do this here? So this is in GUI, unhandled input. Yeah, maybe everything should just be unhandled. Unhandled inputs. Thinking about it. God, So this doesn't matter, but this mouse input is stop, which makes sense. We don't want it to go through. This one is pass because we do want it to go through. This one doesn't matter. This one is, oh, okay, we can pass. That's fine. We can pass. And then this one should also be pass. And so it'll pass back up to the containing screen. Am I thinking about that correctly? Maybe not. Because default GUI has the default GUI script attached to it. This doesn't matter. If events is input events mouse button, just hit me with a print event really quick, just so I know. For my own sanity. Da-da. So you're not handling it, actually. What the heck? Wasn't this in default GUI? Unhandled input? Hey? How is this? Huh? What? 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 Wait a minute. Also, is runner ever used here? No, it's not. So I can probably take that out. But there's your mouse button. But then this is not handled. Is there something else? Actually, yeah, actually. Is there something else that's toggling my GUI? Am I dumb? Is there something else that's toggling my GUI? Ooh. Or is it because mouse input is caught before it even gets to unhandled inputs? Oh god, I wish there was a way to check which things are handling your stuff. So Godot, check, control, handle inputs. Yeah, where to handle input. That's not what I need. Because I know something is catching it, I just don't know what. It's like empty. Maybe empty should just pass it, so everything just passes along and then nothing ever handles it, which is fine. So this is also passing. This is passing it. This is passing it. So it never gets handled, which is good. Maybe that was the thing I was missing. Nope. Not at all. What I'm looking for is a little print statement to show up on my logs when I'm at this state. I know I ran into this problem before. I don't remember how I solved it. Because this looks... the way I solved it here was I just had the GUI modify the model position, which is not great. Because the GUI doesn't actually contain the model, so it's a little bit too much indirection for my taste. Yeah, this should be ignore. This should be pass. This should be ignore. And then this should be ignore. And then if we go into control, focus mode, no, not focus mode, it's mouse filter. Events new GUI will not receive the mouse entered, blah blah, will not block other controls from receiving these events or finding the signals. Ignored events will not be handled automatically. Yeah. So unhandled input will not be fired. Yeah. I guess we can pass here. Seems a bit weird. Oh, hello, Stoneby Studio. Hello, hello. How are you? Man, that is weird. So check this out. I've mostly got it hooked up. So all of these things are pulling from configuration, which is nice. You're able to load in other models, etc. And then what I'm trying to figure out is this last bit, because it makes sense to be able to, you know, move this over or scoot it over if you want, right? So you can scoot this over and then, you know, just have the controls open while you manipulate stuff on screen. But the only way this works currently is if you hide the entire GUI. Very good. I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Spent a long time on the phone today, just waiting for IT support to help reset my credentials, and just kept getting dropped, etc. So that's fun. That's all right though. That's pretty much all I did for work though. Just sit on the phone. It's pretty ideal, to be honest. Yeah. Why is my sprite? Isn't that game a lot better now after they've patched it and stuff? I feel like I've heard of that before. Default runner is not catching these inputs. And then also, by followers, absolutely not. Summon death though? pretty sick. How do I ban someone from this UI? Hold on, we can do it. Hold on, we can do it. I think I have to do it from this UI. Noah. How do you... Which UI is it to ban someone from? I always forget. Ban. Grab your name. I've just opened your name several times. We can do it. He's done it. Game arrives fixed, but you have to wait a year and a half from 2020. Yeah, you know what? It's the... As long as it's a similar situation to No Man's Sky, I guess I'm okay with it. It was definitely way too overhyped. That's undeniable. Undeniable. But, you know, just like No Man's Sky, as long as they kind of get it to what they originally promised, I guess I don't really have a huge issue. Because I don't pre-order anything anyways. Default runner. We add a test statement, I suppose. So default GUI, we can hit this with a print debug, so I know where it's coming from. And then here, this will be if events is inputs events mouse button print debug event. Yeah, okay, so let's see what things are being handled and what's not. Yeah, this is being caught somewhere else. Yeah. So then this is being fired twice because the GUI, even though it should not be receiving inputs when it's hidden, is, which means that something else must be doing a thing. Where's my catfishing anime girl T-word? I don't think you're allowed to say the T-word on Twitch anymore. Or maybe I've just been gaslighted to believe that. Oh, Poly Duck is cute. Thank you. Thank you. So are you. Or at least I like to imagine so. Yeah, it's one of these things that's handling it, right? It's one of these things. Or maybe, hold on. We go into here, default runner. I think I can kind of cheat. Oh, hello, Bumsy. How are you? How are you? How are you today? Split container. Doesn't the split container just have a handle that I can grab? Maybe not. The dragger. I'm almost 100% sure it's the split container that's eating my input, but I'm not sure how to solve that. If I take out the split container, it'll... I mean, I guess it'll be fine, but it'll solve a lot of my problems as well. Was it the pixel editor add-on that ignored mouse input? I don't remember. I could probably check that out. I think something that would be really nice for Godot is the ability to basically trace back which things are handling input and which things are not, because right now there's not a great way to tell. So how did this work? This one may or may not have been ignoring mouse input at some points. You know, I know this is not under my GitHub name, but I still own the organization. Probably gonna eat the organization sooner or later though. Yeah, so there's GUI inputs, but that's fine. Huh. I mean, if I change default GUI to use GUI input, does that change anything? GUI inputs? Okay, well, I mean, that doesn't... Yeah, I mean, it's a bit different, sure. So bring up the model. So I don't want it to do anything there. Oh, but it's also now ignoring this input, which is very cool. Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. Because then it gets eaten by something else, because it's not true GUI input, I suppose. This unhandled input. Global Illumination Godot versus Unreal Engine 5. I think Unreal Engine requires really high specs, doesn't it? Whereas Global Illumination, or whatever they're doing, Sign Distance Field Global Illumination in Godot 4 doesn't require ray tracing. Doesn't Unreal Engine 5 require ray tracing for that level of graphics? So SDFGI in Godot is supposed to be more lightweight. I don't like how this works. But I also don't want to reverse how input is handled. So if I do this, I know it'll work. It's very strange though. So if we change this to just regular inputs, I guess it's okay for the most part. But if you do something like this, that's pretty weird. So then if you do this as well, it's also very strange. So I could do any of this stuff. So if it's any of this stuff, then we'll set input as handled. After we're done, get tree, set input as handled, so it doesn't propagate. Still feels kind of bad though, in my opinion. Yeah. Oh. Oh. It's not really what you want, huh? Because this is only on unhandled input. It's so frustrating when you have solved these types of problems to forget after. Yeah, well, I think I know how I solved it for this application. Oh, for this application. I know how I solved it here. What I did was I just had the GUI handle all the inputs. And so like your base screen never needed to manipulate the model, if that makes sense. So if you wanted to move the model, like you can still do it because the screen is still, the control node is still technically here, even if you hide it. But the screen itself, the actual scene itself does not handle any input. Whereas I think for this instance, I think it does make sense for the scene to handle some input, but because the GUI doesn't need to know about the model, if that makes any sense. How many hours does it take you to solve a bug? It depends on what the bug is. So I think in how deep the bug runs. So if it's just like a simple typo, like you type in a wrong variable, it's not too hard to figure out because then you can just set a breakpoint and then you just follow along from where you think it is. Check that all the values are correct, easy. For something like this, where we're trying to figure out why input isn't being handled, it's kind of hard to tell for a few reasons. One is because there's many places where input can be handled in this entire tree. So it could be handled here. It's not, because I'm ignoring input. Could be handled here. It might be because we're passing input. Might be handled here, but no, we're ignoring it, and we're also just passing it here. Well, we could always ignore it, that's fine. So, and Godot doesn't really have a good way of just telling you which things are handling inputs, which is kind of tough. It's kind of tough, it's really annoying for sure. Probably one of the only gripes I still have with Godot's UI system is that random pieces of UI elements can still disable input because they're handling it silently and then discarding your input. So I suppose what I could do is give the GUI. I could give the GUI the model, so then the GUI would just handle pretty much all your input. I really don't like that though. I would really like to avoid doing that. But I gotta think about this. So to answer your question in a lot of words, it depends. If it's something simple, or if it's a, you know, typo, pretty easy. Logical error depends on what the logical error was. When it's something that you don't have intense visibility into, it depends. Lots of things in life depend. Mouse click outside the window, make it pass. Would it work? What do you mean outside the window? So the problem with that is that this is the GUI. This is the GUI. This is also the, I'm like 90% sure it's the H-split container, by the way, that's eating my inputs. I'm pretty sure it's the H-split container, because I can't have it not do that. I guess I can attach like a really quick script. I can attach a really quick script to it. So this is just a really quick test script. So you can capture input on the root node. So that's not the correct understanding of the situation. Yeah. So the situation is that there's no way to click outside of the window. Does that make sense? There's no way to click outside the window. This is the window. It's just that the part of the window is invisible. Because you might notice I have just an empty control, so I can be able to resize the sidebar. I think I am dropping frames. Am I still live? Or is that just did I just get disconnected from chat for no reason? Hello? Yeah, I think if I do this, just add a script. Yeah, just add a script. Don't make this complicated. 92 frames skipped. I've dropped 51 frames, so don't know what's going on with that, but that's not really me. Test GD. So if I do 93, I still only dropped 51 frames. I think it's Twitch. I think Twitch is starting to die. If event is input event mouse button 94, that's Twitch. Still not me. I've only dropped 51 frames. So if you have complaints, you know where to take it. Yeah, see, yeah, it's almost certainly, almost super duper certainly the H-split container, but I can't not process input for it. I mean, I guess I could. I can kind of cheat it, but no, you can't, because it doesn't expose that to you. Or no, something else must be eating my input now. Yeah. Or maybe all of these should just be... Hold on, get rid of test GD. This doesn't do anything. Why is this still here? Get this out of here. Unhandled inputs. I can't change these to... yeah, I can't change these to GUI inputs. Because GUI inputs GUI inputs accepts inputs on UI elements. So events won't trigger. Event position is relative to the control origin. Yeah, well, I need the GUI stuff to. Are you reading solo leveling like everyone else? I thought solo leveling was done. Isn't solo leveling the story's finished? I feel like I've already read through all of solo leveling. Didn't yeah, isn't the manhwa finished? Yeah. The ending kind of sucked, but like I kind of lost track of what it was doing. I feel like. Hold on, I'm like just looking at it because I'm a little confused. Runner trait. Yeah, I thought solo leveling was okay. It didn't do enough with what it had, in my opinion. I did like the, like it's basically your standard power fantasy for sure, but you know, hasn't completed yet. I thought it was completed, isn't it? Go to manga decks. Solo leveling. I have not seen any updates on it. Yeah. I gave it a 6. It's done. Chapter 179. Oh, you haven't completed it yet. Okay. I gave it a 6 anyways. Four months ago, yeah. I thought I was caught up. Ending is horrible. I would say the ending is worse than Attack on Titans. You know, spoiler by the way, for anime only watchers. The ending of Attack on Titan is controversial. There's an anime coming too. I think it would make a good anime. I think it would make a good anime for sure. It's like some of the fights I just have no idea what's happening. So that par for the course. Blind set the runner if possible. I really do not want this. I really do not want to have the GUI handle input. That would be horrible. I'm just thinking. That was a mistake the first time around, in my opinion. But now we're we're about to make the same mistake. Oh no! Don't make me do it! Don't make me do it! Don't make me do it! Oh no! Don't make me make the same mistake twice. It's something here. Something here is eating the inputs. I just don't know which. Like this is passing. If we ignore it, then that's okay. I suppose, like here, then we can start moving it. It's the split container. Stop it. Stop doing this. Why are you like this? It's the split container, but then if we, now we can't manipulate it anymore. See, like now that's working as I would expect it to, but then I would need to have the GUI also listen for certain values. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. This is good. It's just like stun lock myself into trying to handle this, because I want this to accept toggle GUI. H split container should only toggle itself off. I don't want it to toggle itself off. There's a good way around this. Give me the docs for control so I can just have this up on my other monitor, please. Control. So GUI input, no. Mouse entered, no. Size flag, no. What am I talking about? Doesn't it disable physics run? Disable physics run? What do you mean disable physics run? Where do I disable that? Or are you talking about like grabbing the H-split container here? So if I were to do something like this, so like disable or physics, set physics process false. I don't think that's correct. I think that's not right. Set process false. I don't think that's right. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, set process and unhandled input. You know, that might be right. That might be right. I don't think that's correct though. I guess we can still handle this. Maybe it's correct. That doesn't feel right. Yeah. So set process, unhandled input. So set process input. Maybe we'll just do both of them. Container. This thing false. Hold on. So we're still able to do that. Yeah, you know what? Maybe. Set process GUI input as well. Is there one of those? Hold on. I'm just doing this manually for now. Set process. Set GUI process. Unhandled. Set. Which anime were you talking about? It wasn't an anime. It's called Solo Leveling. It's a manga or a manhwa because it's Korean. Solo Leveling. Yeah. One of these. So it might be getting an anime. Unless you're talking about when I mentioned Attack on Titan. It's called Attack on Titan. Might have been one of the biggest anime explosions of the past decade. Because it was a lot darker than most mainstream anime at the time. Because I think there were dark anime that came out. Like I think like Higurashi came out. That one was pretty dark. That one's actually extremely dark. Elfen Lied was pretty dark. I think even like Evangelion is pretty dark, but none of those are like super mainstream. Looks promising. Yeah, it's okay. I gave it a 6 out of 10, but people really like it because it's a power fantasy that's at least somewhat consistent in its world building. Set process, unhandled input. So node. I'll continue with my impossible mission to find a realistic anime. I think that's unlikely. You know, it's like you don't play games for realism, right? Because realism is like, oh, I need to eat, I'm hungry. Oh no, I feel uncomfortable. Just stat down. What you want is not realism. What you want is the illusion of realism. Just like, you know, when people talk about like random chants or like random shuffling, they don't want your music to be actually randomly shuffled. They want it to be pseudo randomly shuffled. Ending sucks. I give it a 5. If ending is good, a 7. I didn't think it was that bad. I think it does kind of drag at certain points. The ending is very bizarre for solo leveling. None of these are doing anything, by the way. Because there's no way to grab in the H-split container. There's no way to know where the dragger is. Hate when people overuse a work of art except for memes. I hate people when they overuse a work of art. You hate people? Or do you hate the situation when people overuse a work of art? Middle ground 6. That sounds about right. Second, yes. It's the very subtle difference between the two the two orderings of words. I hate when people overuse a work of art, or I hate people when they overuse a work of art. English. This is tough, man. This is tough. Because I think if I want to do this well, I have a solution, and it's absolutely horrible. So it's when your mouse is in this empty space, I should disable processing for the H-split container. Oh no, I got it. That's horrible though, but we're doing it. Bar split container. H-split container. That's H-split container, so I can go type hinting. Oh, hello Nova. How goes it? I've been stun locked on this one bug for what feels like forever. So everything's hooked up, at least for the model stuff. But see, this is the problem, is that you're not able to manipulate the model while the GUI is still up. You can manipulate it when the GUI goes down. And I know why that's happening is because of this H-split container, because this H-split container is eating my input, even when I put it to pass. So there's a few solutions, but they're all kind of bad. I think this is the best one I've got, which is when your mouse is in this region of empty, I'll set the mouse filter mode for the H-split container to be ignore. But otherwise, we can unset it, I suppose. So empty as just a random control. So this one, we do want this to, I guess we'll just pass input, that's fine. So that we can receive input events. Then here we'll do empty connect. I think it's mouse entered. Yeah, mouse entered. Self on empty mouse enter. So and this is mouse exited. Mouse exited. And they'll also pass along the split container, I suppose. That's not how you spell it. Oh, and actually we can handle this on the same thing. This is kind of gross. This is kind of gross. Oh, you know what? We can make this even easier, just true. And then false. So func on empty mouse action. So this is entered Boolean, and then this is the container, which is going to be some sort of control. So this will be container mouse mode. Mouse filter is equal to control mouse filter Mouse filter ignore if entered. Else control mouse filter stop. Yeah, I guess like that. That'll work. Maybe. Let's send it. So default GUI, nothing just yet, but then we can click on this. Oh, well, I thought it would work. Thought it would work. That made sense to me. Is it because... print, enter, print debug. Give me a print debug. I was very hopeful that was gonna be it. False. Made sense to me. So now that's true. I mean, that was it, right? Mouse filter ignore if entered. Yeah. Is the signal firing? Yeah. I mean, you can't really see it, but I can see it. It is logging, so I can see that it is working. Right, so true. I can even bring it up here and we can just look at it. Because I know it's the hsplit container that is eating my input, 100%. But see, the mouse filters stop. That might be a little hard to see. So stop, now it's on ignore. I don't think it's this, yeah. So mouse filter ignore. You know what? Is it you? Is it you? Oh no, is it the empty thing now? Nothing better than watching a tutorial on YouTube, that's my thought. I hate watching tutorials. Give me a written tutorial any day of the week. Or it's like, give me, if you're gonna do like a YouTube video tutorial, you should also provide code. And then I'll only watch parts of the video where I'm like ultra confused. I don't know, it's like, if I watch something like, yeah, I get it, I guess. But you can't ask any questions, so it's just like a slower form of reading. So this is working, but I think it's also because of the mouse filter, and then the mouse filter is eating my input, which is very unfortunate. I think. Alright, so here, mouse filter, mouse filter, mouse filter, mouse filter. Just takes a mouse filter. So we are doing pass. So controller receive mouse input events through GUI input if clicked on. Controller received the mouse entered and mouse exited signals. If this control does not handle the event, the parent control, if any, will be considered, and so on until there are no more parent controls to potentially handle it. This also allows signals to fire in other controls. With no control handled at all, the event will still be handled automatically, so unhandled. Ooh, okay. Okay, that's the important part. So unhandled input will not be fired for pass. Oh, that's my error. That's my error. So this has to be input if we want this to be handled at all, which means we need to now change all of these to be inputs, which is kind of a pain. But that also means, yeah. Now the order of operations is all kinds of messed up. Now the order of operations is all kinds of messed up, since they're all processing on the same layer, which is not good. I can think about this. We're thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. We can do get tree set put as handled. I don't think that's gonna be it either. So we can move that over. Yeah. So we can still click on random things here. So this still handles input at the same layer, but pop-ups, when moving pop-ups around, I guess they're handled at the GUI input layer, maybe? No. Yeah, see, the order of operations is not respected. I need like a way to ignore like filter pass and filter stop inputs. So like this absolutely still needs to be unhandled inputs, right? Maybe what I can do, so it's not just this container. We can also do just like our own mouse filter mode as well. So mouse filter, this is kind of inefficient. That's fine. It's because of the it's because of this, but I can't turn it, I can't change this to mouse ignore because then we'll never be able to turn it back on. Why are you like this? What I can do is just continuously broadcast like mouse input from this input event, depending on whether or not your mouse is clicked or not. That's not good though, because I can't hide it. Can't hide it. What I can do, bring me back to here. That's model default GUI. It's the H-split container that's causing me so many issues, but okay. What I can do is, instead of using an H-split container, okay, yeah, this is basically the nuclear option. So instead of using an H-split container, what I can do instead is just put like a little invisible, basically a handle, an invisible handle on this panel container, so it'll be standalone, and then you just click on that to resize it if you want. Or there might not even be a good reason to resize it, right? Alright. Okay, so git commit. Finish hooking up model pop-up. Alright, so the model pop-up is almost done. Then it's the tracking stuff, which should be fairly easy because that doesn't really rely on any configuration stuff. But even then, that's already pretty easy. Finish hooking that stuff up. We'll push it. We're not going to look at the automated test stuff, but the reason why we're pushing it now is so we can move this out to here. It's going to look horrible. Don't worry about it. We'll get rid of the H-split container. This one needs to do size flag expand. This one probably should not be fill, but it should be expand. Maybe not. You can just separate all inputs to the relevant node, then it would work, right? No, it would not. No, it's because this thing, not this thing, default runner is using unhandled input. So I would need to, like, there's too many random input things, and I think pop-ups don't use input. I think they use GUI input to be able to be moved around. So even if I separated out all the inputs, the problem is I need to use mouse filter pass or mouse filter stop. I cannot use mouse filter ignore. If I was using the stretch container. That's tough. Min size, I don't know, like 100. 4K. 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 200. That looks okay. I don't know. 150. It's about right. And we have a double panel container for some reason. I don't remember why I chose that. Then for here, or actually, it won't be a double panel container. It will be an HBox container with a little drag handle, or maybe it's not even necessary and we just won't worry about it too much. Window rect. No, it's not the window rect that captures the input. I've already verified it's not the window rect. It was the H-split container. Because if I turned the mouse filter mode to ignore on the H-split container, then it would not. Then it would work as expected. But then you wouldn't be able to drag it anymore, which is, what's the point, right? Then I can just do something like that, something like this. Or maybe I could still use the H-split container. Like I can just undo this really quick. I can just VBox containers. Well, no, it's not the VBox isn't eating my inputs. That's not the problem. The problem was the H-split container was eating the input. That's very easy for me to verify. Or to prove, I should say. But I think what I can do, just undo me, reload. Yeah, so I can prove that. It's easy. Just change this to ignore. Observe that. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Am I dumb? Oh, yeah, and then change this one back to ignore. This, maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe I just was not holding onto it anymore. No, yeah. So you can't grab anything there. So you can't move this around, but you can move this around. So it's once we change the H-split container to ignore, then it just works. But I guess that's probably fine, yeah? The only hard part is that you need to... Yeah, maybe it's okay just to keep it like that, so then it's easily configurable. And then we can have just like a little parent thing. Thank you for redeeming a hydrate. I think the coffee is starting to go straight to my head. Might be a good thing. Drink water, it's good for you. I think I still have not drank my 2 liters I need to today, so I might just chug some water after the stream. Stop on mouse enter then? What do you mean? Oh yeah, I could do the mouse enter stuff. Hydrate with coffee. I think coffee is a... what was coffee? It's a... the only word that's popping into my head is lubricant, but that's not quite correct. It's something that makes you go. The word is escaping me. But yeah, I can't swap the mouse entered then, because the actual control that handles, you know, resizing it is actually here. It's in this column outside of this. So once my mouse exits this thing, I can no longer grab it anymore. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I 90% sure that's how that works. We can always try it though, just in case you don't believe me. It'd be very weird. Yeah, so once... Oh, yeah, I guess you have to be very careful about it, but I guess it will work. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. No, you're not. I got bad news for you. You're not right. Or maybe, did I get that wrong? Coffee and green tea keep you awake? Yeah, because they have a slight amount of caffeine inside of them. But so does methamphetamine. Methamphetamines, or any sort of amphetamine, will generally keep you awake. Any sort of stimulant, really. So we're talking to like Coke or whatever as well. Now, what kind of Coke am I talking about? I refuse to elaborate. But so mouse filter, container mouse filter, ignore. Oh, actually, has this just been wrong? Mouse filter, ignore. Maybe that's actually correct. So you have to be. No, see, yeah, you can see it's very finicky. I can see it for like a split second. I can see it for a split second, but then that's not what you want. I think what's better, right? Because this will work, by the way. Look at that. But the problem is that you cannot grab onto that little window there. It's just too quick. It toggles on and off. Or I think it's like a single pixel. Maybe, yeah. See, I can see my cursor change. It's like the Windows 10 resize bug. It's not really a resize bug. It's just that there needs to be like an invisible whatever that just pops up. Yeah, no, I know why it's not working. that's why I've been so adamant about it. The little handle shows up outside of the bounds there. You know when you try to grab the corner? The corner of what? It's just impossible to grab. I think that's the same on like it happens a lot to me on X11. Is there a resize bug? This looks to work fine. But on Linux, with any X11 system, I always struggle to grab the corners. Yeah, I guess this is okay. And then there's just like a little space here that I can't put anything in. But maybe what I can do is have this just kind of extend over the edge a little bit, or have some sort of custom grabber. I use right click to resize. I'm not going to do that, but I suppose it does make sense, maybe. All right, so I can make my own custom grabber, by the way, and then also, no, well, yes, well, maybe. So we have an empty control, and then we put another control under it, and then this should be fine, full rect, a little bit like that. So now we're starting to abuse the UI system a little bit. So if we make it like 10 over, so that we have a little grab room. Oh, actually, no, we do full rights, and then just give it like a 10. I think that's still fine. What it is, you are missing, only works on X11? I don't know. Like I usually say, like when I work with Linux, I don't usually use a GUI. It's just not available. Yeah, I think this will work. This is bizarre, but I'm pretty sure this will work. So this is the anchor, and then we have just a grabber. So this will not work, but I'm pretty sure this is still okay. And then this will also allow me to resize without having to handle inputs from either of these two things. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, don't get me wrong, but it'll work. So empty, or this is now the grabber. Alt left click drags the windows, doesn't matter where you grab it. Alt right click resizes where your mouse is close to its edge. I don't need that. So GUI inputs, self on grabber inputs. So on grabber input, so this is some sort of input event. Input events, or events, input event. And then if input, if events is action, left click. Oh. Ha ha ha. Let me see. Grabber grabbed. Var grabber grabbed. False. Grabber grabbed is true. If this is released. Grabber grabbed is false. If grabber grabbed and event is input event mouse motion, then we'll do that's kind of tough. I can pass in the split container as well as one of the callback thingies. So h split container. This is fine. Here. Split container. Then split container. Dot split offset plus equals event relative x. Maybe. I think that'll work. It's a bit bizarre though. So now, that's horrible. I hate that, but it will work. It will work. So now I just need to have something. Yeah, look at that. That's I hate that, but I hate that, but it does work. It's not a horrible solution, I think, because I'm pretty sure that's the best it's gonna do. Yeah, change the mouse cursor. Yeah. So we need to do grabber connect. What's it called? Mouse entered on grabber mouse. So this will be true. Well, no, on entered. Yeah. If entered, yeah. Grabber connects this thing. This needs to be false. Mouse exited. Okay. On grabber mouse. So I'm just basically re-implementing the split container logic myself. So entered. So if entered, how do you set the mouse cursor? It's I forget. Mouse cursor. Set custom. No. Isn't there? There's a way, right, to cursor. I've seen it before. Yeah. Set current. Set default mouse cursor shape. Yes. Set where was that? Set default mouse cursor shape. Input. Oh, it's under input. So input. Set default mouse cursor shape. So this will be drag if entered. Else input cursor arrow like that. That was not bad. So then it's not quite working. Did I not hook it up? I did hook it up on grabber mouse. So Or is cursor, what is cursor drag? Often a closed fist or cross symbol. Like a scene dock. That's not really it. Is it it's not an I-beam. H size? Double-headed H size. Okay, maybe drag just isn't available. So, H size. H size. H size, maybe. Is it not accepting my input? Is that it? So this should be mouse stop. We can also pass if we want, but print debug. Just give me entered. Is it entering or is it not entering? It is entering. Oh, it got really big. Isn't this how you set your default mouse cursor shape? Because I don't want to do set custom mouse cursor. Like, you have to use default mouse cursor. Hey. Change the clap. We're close. It is working. It's just not changing the mouse cursor. Generates an input mouse motion to update the cursor immediately. That's fine. How about this one? Default cursor shape for this control. Use the system's mouse cursor. Mouse default. This is under control. Mouse default cursor shape. Oh, okay. You can just do that. Oh, what do you know? That's way easier. Okay. Send me back to default GUI. We don't even need to use a callback. We can just do grabber this thing is equal to control cursor this thing. Yeah, I have faith. Yep. Those are the same thing in my book. Yup and yep. Okay, yeah, there we go. He's done it. It's kind of small, but that's fine. Also, nothing pops up, so you have no idea if you're actually holding on to it. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. It just took forever, but here we are. Was it worth it? Almost absolutely not. Oh, hello, duck. Knock. Hello, Knock. Thank you very much for the tier 2 subscription. Much appreciated. How are you doing? Look at this. Duck Chonk. He is a very chonky boy. Look at that. We're rewriting the entire UI stuff. I think it's going pretty well. I'm really happy I did not have to do like a super workaround to get this stuff work. This is actually surprisingly involved for whatever reason. Yeah. Well, the entire thing has been rewritten pretty much from the ground up. So now the only thing left to do is to hook up the UI. So this UI is all hooked up. The bones need to be hooked up. This is just a placeholder, ignore this. But then we have the various tracking options. So now you can do tracking options per bone instead of just having to assign like a global interpolation rate per bone. So this is a lot nicer. So is tracking or should pose are from here, but then we also have use custom interpolation, and then you have your interpolation rate, which is neat. I guess you can also have, this is not a bug, you can just have all of these open at the same time if you want to have, you know, really quick access to a bunch of menus, and then of course you can do this. I guess these should actually update each other because I'm not sure what you would expect here. We'll get back to that. Yeah, and then everything else is more or less unimplemented, but I'm happy with how this worked out. Yeah, surprisingly difficult because in order to get this to work, I had to implement my own custom grabber. So it disabled Godot's built-in one because it was eating my inputs. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Then we have all the other stuff like logs. Everyone likes logs. Settings. There are no settings just yet, but these are like global app settings, which used to be available here under app settings. But now we're doing it just, I guess, slightly more fancy. The top bar, yeah. Oh, and I guess this one is just, why is this one dropped in a different part? Was that my fault? Hold on, what the heck? Wait, what? Add docking windows? Absolutely not. I know there is super progress. Yeah, there's some amount of progress. There is someone, I can find them. Who's the person that did the Lua, Godot Lua stuff? Godot, or hold on, Godot Lua plugin script. Okay, so this person, Gilzoid, he did this. So if I wanted to do dockable windows, I could use their plugin to do that. It's pretty neat. I don't see how that would really fit into here, but I guess if I wanted to do docking windows, I could just reuse their thing. For shame. Yeah. That looks, what, their thing or my thing? Their thing looks super slick, but I'm not sure how I would make that work with this, because I don't really have that concept of dockable tabs. Yeah, say goodbye. Yeah, I believe Pixelorama uses that. I think I saw something in their release notes that they're using this plugin to do like a configurable UI now. I was talking about theirs, but yours is slick too, I guess. All right, well, no offense taken. Just know that you've made an enemy for life. Yeah. So I'm thinking about it. It's not too hard to add, I guess. Well, maybe it would be because my UI is pretty hard-coded this time around for ease of development. A Patreon and everything? Yeah, very slick. I don't have a Patreon. I have a coffee, I guess. Not because people keep asking for it, but it's like some people ask for it. I'm like, I don't really have anywhere to accept donations, and like some people just don't like giving Twitch money because it's just giving money to Amazon. Jokes aside, yours does look pretty good. Thank you, thank you. Also, check this out. Stream Stuff Runner is made using the same ideas as that, which is how I'm running all my little stream toys. Thank you very much. I just use Piscal. What's Piscal? Piscal? Free online sprite editor? I guess. Piscal. I just use ASE Sprite. Or no, I don't use ASE Sprite, I use Pixel Edit. ASE Sprite is the one I don't like because of the UI. Do you want a hot coffee? Is that like, are you hitting on me? Or should I change into my catfishing model? Is that a reference people still know? But yeah, trying to finish up this rewrite so I can move on with my life and not feel too bad about not working on this for months on end. Yeah, you don't like ASE Sprites UI? I do not like ASE Sprites UI. I really don't like it. That made me feel yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Seagull Rigged is gonna break, so I'm not gonna use that. There's Bald. There's this one. There's this one. Takes forever. Here we go. Now we're catfishing again. Pixely? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I like how ASE Sprite looks. Like, it just uses like the defaults, right? Just give me like the default Windows UI. I like the default Windows UI. Please don't change my cursor. Alright, anyways, we can get out of this. I think that's more or less solved. Like, this is horrible, but just ignore it for now. I swear I'm gonna fix it. Well, I'm not gonna fix it, but this is pretty much the best I've got, I think. So we do just like the connect elements, figures out which thing we need to route it to. So this is almost like reflection at runtime, but instead of like actual reflection, it's just a string. And then this Vtuber app, the new one. I think I said it out loud but didn't answer it. This is the new one. At least this is the idea. This is the new one. So the idea is that it's very, very pluggable. So you can, I don't need to be around if people want to make changes to stuff. They can just do it themselves. Yeah, not seen this model before. There's the other girl is here. Look at that. Look at that. I think, oh, since Rogue Nation is here as well, here is the avatar that you were talking about. There's a few bugs in this. So this actually should have worked, but it's like setting the head bone or resetting the head bone at runtime is kind of borked. But for these make human models, the reason why it doesn't track properly is because the head bone is facing out, or it's the head bone is horizontal for these models. And then there's no way to like remap it. So I assume the head bone goes straight up, but for these make human models, the head bone actually goes up from the neck and then out through the face, I think, which is a little weird. I think it's easier to map to inputs, but that's why this is kind of borked. Seagull rigged, don't load that, that's gonna break. Back to the duck. What is this? Debug console, we don't do anything just yet. You tried fixing in Blender? Oh, it's already fixed in Blender once. I think if you want to make any of your own models work, what you need to do for the current version of the software, so this version, you need to 1, change the head bone to be named head, and then 2, re-rig the model so that the head bones all face straight up. Can you reverse? Yeah, I could also just have a custom case for those. Like, it's not hard to do. I just need to get around to it. There's so many things I need to do, right? I need to rewrite it. I need to fix the bugs. You know, I'm only one guy. I don't get paid for this. I mean, I guess Knock sometimes comes into, or Knock comes into chat and then drops a sub every month. But, you know, I don't get explicitly paid for working on software. I write a bunch of other stuff as well. Like, I think like one of these, or a few weeks ago, I think it was a week ago. Shouldn't make it sound like it was too long ago. I'm funding this. No, you're not funding this, you're funding the stream. Yeah, I made one of these based off of Reddit post. So like, instead of working on the rewrite, I was like, you know what? What if I made a calculator that also just did stuff at runtime? Quick, there's no profits to be had. Well, I got bad news for you. I'm not gonna pivot. But I guess check this out. So, I've gotta find a way to pay you someday. So I guess if you do want to pay me, I mean, there is a coffee. Toss me some change, but please don't feel obligated unless you want me to do a specific thing, I guess. But even then, I reserve the right not to do that. Yeah, you saw that Reddit post? Look at that. So you can do, I don't know, hello plus world execute. So I'll concatenate these two things. Still have 42 points. I can make you pivot. Yeah, you could. I'm gonna reject it now since I am technically already over time, so I would feel bad for making you waste your points. But yeah, this can do all kinds of things, right? I'm pretty sure I can do like a print get parents and then execute that. And then we can see what the parent is. Oh, okay. Can't be used because the instance is null, not passed. All right, well, yeah, there's a few bugs. Cancel my card. I can't donate a copy. I can offer you a tea. I offer you a tea in these trying times. I'm not really super into tea. I feel like it's not doesn't have the same kick as coffee. And by kick, I mean like the astounding bitterness that makes me feel in my soul. What's the maths behind get parents? Oh, so basically what I was showing off is it's not actually running in a sandbox. It's just generating a script at runtime and then running some math based off of that. So like when it's actually running this calculator stuff. So when the calculator is running, I'm starting to get distracted. What's the maths? Oh, there is no maths. But what's actually happening is that when it's doing this, what it's actually doing is it's just typing like 1 + 1 into a script. Because this is technically a valid thing to have. Like you can just have 1 + 1 at whenever you want. It's just an expression. So the Reddit post had like some weird Care Bears that were like, oh no, you can have like, arbitrary code execution, but actually no, you cannot. It's not possible. At least when you're using Godot's built-in like expression class, right? That's sandbox. That's ultra sandbox. But here, using my library that I wrote called Advanced Expression, that it's somewhere. Advanced Expression. Well, it's one of my repos. It allows you to basically just run whatever you want because it builds arbitrary scripts at runtime, so it's not hard. GDScript is well, actually no, GDScript is not sandboxed, by the way. Common misconception. So just to prove it and continue to get super twisted. Just have a fork API? Yes, it does. If you do this, so if you go OS shell open google.com, I think that'll work. Is it gonna open? Is it gonna open something? Maybe not. It says it was success, but maybe not. Is it not shell open? Shell open. Maybe it's www. That might be it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Or we can do OS shell open. We can do project settings, globalize path, user logs, Godot.log. I think that's right. Null return, right? Okay, I guess you can't do that. But can't you open? You can open this path though, right? You can open this path. Yeah, there we go. So if you wanted to, you could just write like OS executes bash and hit it with an rm rf roots. One of these. So if I did that, that would be catastrophic. Well, actually, I don't think bash has admin access, so that won't work. But yeah, so GDScript is not sandboxed, by the way. Common misconception. Well, I guess GDScript is technically sandboxed, but well, I mean, no, it's not Does that count as sandboxing if you have to do everything via like shell commands? I don't know. So if the language has access to shell commands, does that make it sandboxed? Or if it has to interact with the host OS via shell commands, does it make it sandboxed? Or does that break sandboxing? I've never thought about it. Yeah, here, let's see. Bring me back to model. Model. So here's model. So, okay. I'm gonna say no, not sandboxed. Well, yeah, there we go. GDScript not sandboxed. It was pretty easy for me to break it though. I mean, like this application is already like a good example of how it's not sandboxed at all. Or even like this one, right? The current application right here, if you run the runner, go into logs, you can open up just like that. You can open up the logs like that. So definitely just has access to random system commands. Or you can do like open GitHub. Look at that. There it is. Of course, it's not. Doesn't make for a great viewing experience. I will concede that point. Let me see. So base pop-up tree layout. Item select. Info item select. All right. Just really quickly. Select tree column. When the development of this app is finished, will you make games? Yes, Godot is actually scripting runtime with a game engine attached. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's how I use it. But yeah, the plan is to finally go back to making games once I'm done rewriting this. I miss making games. I miss making games, but I also hate disappointing people. So usually I wouldn't feel too bad about disappointing people, but I think some people are waiting. Alright, fine. Just this one time, since there's a lot of people. Supposedly. Done rerun, we'll see. Well, the idea, right, is that here, virtual puppet project, like this person, Korewachino, which is, this is a Chino. It's mixing Spanish and Japanese. They've already done iFacial mocap integration, so like they're doing stuff. So I don't want to let their work go to waste. I forgive my lack of faith, but you're in open source now. Yeah, well, that also means I can just step away at any time and not feel like a weirdo. Godot's crew curiosity made money because casinos find the engine useful. Yeah. The main contributors or the main sponsor of Godot are just like slot machine runners, I suppose. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's just it's a lightweight runtime. It's easy to use. You know, makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. Running into a bunch of errors. I have a feeling Godot is about to crash. Alright, so for every bone, we actually do need to connect each element. Bone page is tracking set. Bone page is a bone display. It is tracking set. So each of these also needs to connect itself to its stuff. Argentinian pride. Nah. Well, I mean, he is Argentinian, right? But he did move to Spain, I think. Didn't he move to Spain? I thought I saw some news about that. Any hand tracking in the new Vtuber app yet? Well, no one has written an integration, so no. There's only iFacial mocap, but even then, that only tenuously works. It works in theory in the new app. You know, as mentioned a few minutes ago, I don't even work on this full time. I don't even work on this using all of my part time. I work on this maybe using 33%, 1/3 of my free time. Other third is spent playing video games. The other third is working whenever I want, just not streaming it. Look, not rewriting this. See you later, Knock. Thanks for popping in, and thank you very much for the subscription once again. Have fun at work. So here, the bone display. Open this up. Bone display. We have all of these things. I wish there was a way for me to pass along a function reference. You know what? I do have a way to pass along a function reference. I'm not a huge fan of doing that, though. Or actually, hold on. This is, oh, you know what? It's in a init, so I can guarantee that these exist, which means is tracking. Okay, that's what we can do. So bone page is tracking button. we'll hit it with a connect element. Yeah, that's kind of bizarre, but I think it'll work because these aren't on ready vars anymore. I'm just kind of making them exist brute force. So connect element, bone page. So it should pose button. Or, now I'm having second thoughts about how to do this now, because I see above that I'm rebroadcasting these, so maybe I shouldn't be rebroadcasting these. I had to think about it. Should use custom interpolation. So interpolation rates, okay. So then these need to have explicit signals assigned to them. Think about it. Well, think about it. Yeah, I am very overtime. I need to stop. I've been trying to stop going overtime this often. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be live for sure on Sunday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. If you haven't given the channel follow already, I highly encourage you to do so. I stream Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, and on Wednesdays from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern time. Even though I wasn't live yesterday, I was busy. Anyways, I have stuff to do. There's a Discord if you want. There is a GitHub where you can find all the code that I've been working on. I'm going to push this code that I have right now. So git status, git commit, don't commit, git restore assets, git commit, fix dragging for Gui, start hooking up bones. Oh, I didn't do it. Crap. AM. We'll have to fix that up because no, actually we didn't do anything. That's fine. Please. I accidentally deleted it. Buenas noches. Yeah, buenas noches to you as well. Alright, yeah, so everything we'll just push it. Everything is available here under the super cleanup branch. Look at that, how fancy. And yeah, I guess we'll find someone to raid since there, you know, are people here. So let me switch the scene so you can't see what I'm looking at, because I do make choices. Let's raid user 335, I guess. They're working on an actual video game. How fancy. But they're using Unity. Boo. Ah, you know. But they have been working on it for a long time. A long while. How fancy. Hopefully they'll finish it at some point. Yeah. See you later. Goodbye.